hey, before you train, go drag the sled. We didn't have shit called warm-ups. It was called the shit you do before you train. That was a quote from Dave Tate regarding 1990s training at Westside Barbell. They would drag forward, they would drag backward. That was the conclusion that Louis Simmons came to, and they were making the strongest powerlifters in the world. Now, here I am, skinny basketball guy, 10, 15 years ago, coming to the same conclusion. I learned from Charles Poliquin, who trained a lot of Olympic athletes. Charles Poliquin learned directly from Louis Simmons. I made a whole gym where that became our style. There was group classes. You walk in, you start sledding. You go forward and you go backward. We use sleds on turf. I then came out with this thing as the first resisted treadmill that cost hundreds rather than thousands of dollars. We've even now got a buddy sled because I've been helping at a school. It's not realistic to make a school get a bunch of these or a bunch of sleds with the right stuff. So with fabric from Spud out of South Carolina, you can drag forward or backward on grass, on court, without weights. The students are the weights. You could have 10 of them. Students could buddy up. Meanwhile, this is how my mom trains. She's in her 70s. She has great mobility, can sprint. Exercise is a beautiful freedom. However you get into your workouts is great. You're watching mine, forward and backward. At the 1990s West Side, they didn't even list the distance. They would just list it by trips. How long is a trip? As far as the parking lot was. The point is, look, I could do this slower pace. It's gonna take a little longer to tire out. I can do a faster pace, like a sprint. For my program, I say, just do three times to burnout. Take breaks if you want. You can even mix it up. So that's how I start training. Within a few minutes, I mean, I think I could have above average athleticism the rest of my life just off a few minutes of that concept. It's like having a personal hill. It reduces the chance of injury, increases how vigorous it is. My legs are burning, lungs, heart burning, so I'm getting cardio, I'm getting strength. For me, it was the backward sled that helped me get my knees off painkillers that got me on this whole knee over toes journey. Let's move on. Now this is boring, tedious, but there's not a whole lot I can do after gassing myself on the resisted forward, backward. And even as little as one set tib and calf can add up over time. And you know what's really tedious? I've gone to doctors, spent money on expensive orthotics for foot pain. I used to have to pre-wrap and tape my whole lower shin, and then I'd have to wear high socks because I was embarrassed about it to play basketball because of shin splints. That pre-wrap and tape, the cost racked up a lot. I was trying all kinds of treatments, painful stuff. Look, I've been over 10 years, no foot or shin problems. I train from the ground up. It's how I train, and I just wish myself back when I was suffering understood demand versus ability. Look, the demand you're putting is too much for the ability you've got from the ground up. As a college basketball player, I couldn't control the demand. But freshman and sophomore year, the shin splints were gone. Started training from the ground up, led my team in minutes. So I've had experiences that I know that the average person does not have to have chronic pains in the lower feet. Once you understand demand versus ability, then just adjust to get the job done for yourself. Continuing on up to the knee, you control difficulty with the angle, how far you reach, the load or not, or even assisted. I'm training front and back of the knee, controlling. I'm adding extra ability to that knee joint. This even has many studies on it. Look up using a slant board for step downs. I didn't know about any of those studies. I just really understood that increasing the ability of my knees without pain was making the game of basketball feel easier. And you got levels for all this. The hamstring roller, super easy to use for the back of the knee, and you can progress that with a Nordic eccentric to virtually any level of difficulty. So particularly fighting down your weight, front back of the knee joint. Simple as it sounds, well, that's exactly why it works so well when you work at a level you can recover from. And I think number one reason I haven't had a knee or back injury in 12 years is strength through my mobility. So, am I doing strength training right now? Am I doing flexibility training? Well, it's both at my pain-free level. So my intent is to stretch and strengthen with the deadlift style. You simply have load, go lighter, work at your pain-free level. Over time, you adapt more strength and flexibility. With this one, you have elevation, assistance. I had to start front foot elevated, assisted, thinking I was a fragile, pathetic athlete. Honestly, was never expecting to be able to squat deep and have that feel good and dunk and all this stuff. But I say this not with ego, just being 100% honest to try to help you. I don't think there's any way someone who plays basketball has spent as much time trying to train their strength in harmony with mobility as I have. So 12 years, and I could still get hurt. It's still a game of demand versus ability, but my ability's way higher than it was for me naturally in order to handle the demand. Now just one set to burnout, picking up those legs. This became really important to me because after knee surgery, my legs really shriveled up. A few years passed by before I made breakthroughs, started being able to grow my leg muscles without knee pain, getting back to basketball. My hip flexors, the muscles that pick up my legs, incredibly weak because of all that lost time of not sprinting, legs being smaller. So I like to train my abs. You can get sore abs from doing this. I just like to train my abs through something where the legs are the leverage. Go till utter failure. I found even one set can get the job done well. Then I like something lateral. And for some of the steps in this routine I've shown you, I have an A and a B version. So I work out twice a week. I don't try to get everything done in the same workout. For example, this step, I like something lateral, gives some confidence for the knee with the Cossack squat. That scales tremendously by elevating the front foot and assisting and or using counterbalance if you have the strength but not the flexibility. And this one, I mean, you can just start getting comfortable. You're working the quadratus lumborum, which is on either side of your lower spine. So for sport, low back and knee, I don't think any one exercise is mandatory. These just give me a little extra confidence, really, ability to go hard. I think with more ability, first the demand, less chance of tweaking something. I'm either done right there and knock this out later when my kids are playing in the barn, or I just knock it out right at the end of my workout. One set of pull-up or row. I found that if I can maintain 10 full pull-ups, I stay in an overall shape that I'm happy with for my goals. And then I balance the pulling, so either rowing or pull-up with pushing, either push-up or overhead press with dumbbells. Your goals are your goals. I've been more likely over the last 15 years to skip upper body. Why? Because what matters to me the most is not being on drugs, no more surgeries, enjoying basketball, enjoying playing with my kids. So I've had to find, okay, for myself and my routine, how do I keep myself honest for my goal? If I maintain the ability to do 10 full pull-ups in a row, balance that so I'm keeping my upper body generally balanced, works for my goals. Hopefully you can just use it to take a fresh viewpoint. Your goals are your goals.